busting. Many brothers I be sparking and rusting, man, like inside the dark, call me Bill Snatcher. Just a brother for the rapture. I hang live, holding on strong, hard to capture. Extravagant, resurrect the track and it's militant. And I react like a convict and start killing. It's manifested. The gods work like appliances, dealing in my sacred life.
Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another discussion for Boruto Naruto Next Generations, the manga. And for anime only fans, this is the time of the month where a lot of the content that we talk about here on the channel is going to be spoiler heavy, so I thank you for your support. However, if you're still here, I'm assuming that you guys are all caught up with the manga, or you do not care about speculation videos that are based on stuff that takes place in the manga. So with that being said though, if you're still here, let's dive right into the topic. So I want to talk to you guys about Code's new jutsu that was revealed in the last Boruto manga chapter, Boruto chapter 60, and it's the jutsu that is referred to as the claw mark. And I gotta say, despite the name, when you really look at the jutsu is absolutely broken, and there's a really good reason why Shikamaru looks at the capability of the jutsu after Amado gives him the information, and he sees how Code's laid down the traps, and he says, oh my god, we're dealing with the second coming of Minato. And I gotta say, some people said like, yo, that's absolute cap. Other people have kind of jumped the gun and said that, oh my god, this is something even more powerful than the flying Raijin. And after going back and looking at the chapter and really just looking at what Amado told Shikamaru, I gotta say, I think that there's actually a little bit of truth to both statements, but I don't think that either statement is 100% correct. So I want to give you guys my thoughts on this. And so what I've done is I've gone back and I've looked at the flying Raijin and all the information, whether it be the information that was in the actual manga or the information that was in Naruto Data Book 4, and I've looked at flying Raijin, and I gotta say, I think that Code's jutsu rivals it, and in some aspects it surpasses it, but there are some elements of flying Raijin that are drastically superior to Code's jutsu. And I'll say this right here, I'm still leaning towards flying Raijin being a little bit better than Code's jutsu, but I gotta say, this is very much impressive, and Code's jutsu hands down is going to be a huge problem in battle for Naruto to actually deal with. However, Naruto does have some ways to actually counter Code's jutsu, and I'll explain to you how. So the first thing you need to look at when it comes to Code's jutsu is that essentially Code's able to leave the marks on his black bands across any surface, and once these marks are applied, he can instantaneously move to any of them, even if they're going to some place like a different dimension, like where the 10 tails is at, and it's only him that can actually move between these actual objects, but he can actually drag people through the objects once he makes physical contact with them. So that's important to note right there, because essentially it's different than flying Raijin in the sense that flying Raijin is something where if your chakra's connected, you can be teleported using that jutsu. It isn't just something to where Minato has to actually touch you. We've seen it in other instances where, like in Naruto chapter 639, where as long as the chakra is linked, they're able to actually teleport somebody using the flying Raijin jutsu. And I have to say this right here, another thing that you have to kind of keep in mind is that with Code's jutsu, if you get rid of those actual black bands, Code can actually teleport to them, whereas with the flying Raijin, once you're marked by the flying Raijin, I think a lot of people forget this, but once you're marked by the flying Raijin, that marker does not actually go away. The only instance that we've actually seen that happen is when Obito became a freaking 10 tails Jinchuriki. So that's huge right there, because that means any other time that flying Raijin seal is still on the actual body. And the reason why this presents such a problem for Naruto is that if Code has prep time, which is key, and it's the same thing with Minato, if Minato had prep time, Minato could lay waste to 1,000 shinobi. You have to remember, Minato had all those shinobi on the ground actually throw out all those kunai form, and then Minato proceeded to teleport to all of those markers. Well, when you look at Code's fighting style is going to be very similar to Minato's, to where he's going to have to actually have those straps thrown around. Now, what we've seen is that Code can set about 4 to 5 of those straps in one actual sitting, much in the same way that Minato would throw a handful of kunai. So it's about the same in that instance right there, but that's really all you need in this instance, because you have to keep track of every single spot. So now when you look at Naruto, the reason why this is such a problem for Naruto in battle is that Code can not only teleport out of any one of those actual straps at any given time, but he can also drag Naruto through those straps. If Naruto's fighting with a teammate, he can actually drag those teammates through those straps, and he can go to any type of location. So he could actually drag one of Naruto's teammates to Ten Tails dimension and have them fed to Ten Tails, or he could drag them to the area where Ada is, or the area where Damon is. There are a few other possibilities on there. I also think that the other thing you have to kind of look at is the fact that in the way that this might potentially be something that makes it a little bit more superior to Minato's jutsu is the fact that based on what we've seen, it does not look like this jutsu requires a lot of chakra. However, I will say this, Jigen was very smart when it comes to actually taking precautions with these cyborgs that Amado has, because when you look at Code's ability, it's something that is very dangerous when you actually look at it. And if Code would have had his limiters never put onto his actual body, Code would be a huge problem for somebody as well trained as Ishiki controlling Jigen. Then when you add Code's ability on top of Damon's ability for reflect any and all attacks that come at him, on top of Ada being able to see all things that are going on at the same time, that is a very dangerous combination. I don't care if you're even stronger than each of these three individually, their hacks abilities make it to where even though you have a power advantage on them, their hacks abilities level the playing field, if not tilt the scales back into their favor. Teleportation on top of being able to drag you or allies into the actual straps, the ability to reflect all attacks that are coming that are charged with bloodlust, and then the ability to see everything going on at the same time, which means every move you're getting ready to make, Ada's able to give surveillance and actually give that information to her allies. So even if you shrink yourself down and your allies can't actually see you, because Ada can see all things at the same time, Ada can pinpoint your location. No wonder Jigen saw this and said, Amado, this ain't gonna work right here. This makes even more sense when you consider the fact that Code's jutsu has a hidden advantage I don't see a lot of people talking about. With the flying Raijin, we know for a fact, based on what we have in the manga, that flying Raijin, just using the basic version, requires a lot of chakra to do. That's the whole reason why when the Mizukage was being teleported, why Genma and a couple of the other guards that were on Minato's personal Hokage squadron, as well as the guards for Tsunade, were saying that like, hey, we don't have the fourth Hokage's enormous chakra pool. It takes all of us pulling our chakra together to be able to use the basic jutsu. So with flying Raijin, you had to have a pretty substantial amount of chakra in order to be able to use it, whereas with this, it does not look like this is the actual case, and really and truly, this could be something to where this is just ninja tech based, because we do know that Code's entire body was enhanced by ninja tech. So this is something that could be possibly ninja tech related, which means that it's not actually utilizing any chakra at all. So whether it be less chakra or whether it be something that is ninja tech related, this gives Code one hell of an advantage right here, in that he can actually focus on using chakra based attacks to actually combat Naruto. Now, ways that Naruto can actually counter this jutsu, this is where Sage mode is going to be very important, because if Naruto's in Sage mode, he should be able to actually track where Code is. The only thing is when he's going through those actual claw marks, Naruto should not be able to actually sense where Code is until Code actually comes out if he's just using basic Sage mode. Now, this really is going to come down to whether or not you think that all of the Biju chakra that Kurama oversaw in the sanctuary got burned up. Because if all that Biju chakra got burned up, then I also think that there's a possibility that the small part of the six-pass Sage mode that is stated that Naruto still had possession of, that got burned up as well when Kurama passed away. And a lot of people say, oh, well, when Hagoromo took back the seals, Naruto lost his six-pass power. But I think a lot of people forget Naruto used six-pass power right after Hagoromo took back those seals. That's why the light novels say Naruto has a small part, not a lot, but a small part of the six-pass Sage mode that Hagoromo gave him, because we saw him using the six-pass Sage mode with chakra mode activated. If all of that's gone, then Naruto would not be able to actually catch Code when Code is in those other dimensions, when he's traveling between those actual claw mark belts. And if that's the case, Naruto will be basically reacting whenever this guy came out of the actual belts, but that's really all that you actually need because Naruto has the fast enough reaction speed at that point. So that's the thing right there. If it's just basic Sage mode with no 6 pass added to Naruto's base and amping up Naruto's Sage mode, then that's one of those things to where the moment that code actually comes out, Naruto has to be able to actually attack. It's very similar to how Minato had to fight against Obito, to where when Minato fought against Obito, he realized very quickly it's in that split second that Obito makes himself tangible that you need to be fast enough to actually attack him. It's going to be something very similar like that with code, to where in that split second when he emerges from those belts, you need to be fast enough to actually speed blitz and tag code. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to actually hit him because he can just go to those actual belts. So this is going to be a very, very tough battle for Naruto 1 versus 1, but if he's got other people on the battlefield that he has to worry about getting dragged through those claw marks, this is going to be something very dangerous. This is going to be a very hard battle for Naruto. So I want to know from you guys, what are you guys' thoughts on this? Let me know down in the comment section below, and let me know who do you think would be the best person to counter Code's Jutsu. Would it be Naruto or would it be Sasuke? Let me know down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.